I want to tell you about two people I know. The first one is brilliant. Top of his class, the kind of mind that makes a room go quiet when he starts explaining something. He's a physician now, makes more money in a month than most people make in a quarter. And last year he asked to borrow money to cover a tax bill he didn't see coming. The second person never finished college. Drives a delivery route. Talks slowly, reads slowly, and has never once impressed anyone at a dinner party. He paid off his house at 51 and has more invested than the doctor will have at 60. For a long time that didn't make sense to me. I grew up believing the smart ones win. Study hard, get the grades, get the degree, get the salary, and the money sorts itself out. That was the deal. That was supposed to be how it worked. It isn't how it works. And once you see why, you can't unsee it. I'm Victor. Today we're talking about the thing nobody warns you about. Why being smart can actually keep you broke. Not in spite of your intelligence. Because of it. Let's start with the belief almost everyone carries without ever examining it. The belief that wealth is downstream of intelligence. That rich people are, on average, the clever ones, and broke people just didn't think hard enough. Here's the problem with that. The data doesn't back it up. There's a long-running study out of Ohio State that tracked people's income and net worth against their measured intelligence. People with higher IQs did tend to earn more. That part holds. But when researchers looked at net worth, the actual wealth people kept, the relationship basically fell apart. High IQ people were just as likely to hit financial distress, just as likely to miss payments, just as likely to max out cards. Read that again, because it's the whole video. Smart people earn more and keep about the same. The money comes in the front door and walks straight out the back. And you can watch it happen at the very top of the income ladder. In 2025, Goldman Sachs put out a report that should have been bigger news than it was. In 2025, Goldman Sachs put out a report that should have been bigger news than it was. Around 40% of people earning over $500,000 a year said they were living paycheck to paycheck, of people making more than $500,000. And it wasn't a fluke at that one income level. About 41% of those earning between $300,000 and $500,000 said the same thing. These are not unintelligent people. You do not accidentally earn $500,000. These are surgeons, lawyers, engineers, executives, people who can hold enormous complexity in their heads, and a huge share of them are one missed paycheck from trouble. The Harris Poll ran a survey around the same time they called the Income Paradox Survey. Nearly 1 in 3 six-figure earners describe themselves as stretched, struggling, or flat-out drowning. And 64% said that 6 figures no longer feels like wealth to them. It feels like survival. A paycheck that covers the bills and disappears. So if intelligence and income were the answer, these people would be fine. They are not fine. Which means we've been measuring the wrong thing the entire time. Wealth was never an intelligence test. It's a behavior test. And here's the uncomfortable twist. The same mental horsepower that makes you good at your job can make you worse with your money. Let me show you how. Smart people have a specific weakness, and it's a strange one. They're too good at talking themselves out of simple things. Think about how a sharp mind works. It looks for nuance. It finds the exception. It pokes holes. That's a gift in a courtroom or a lab. With money, it's quietly lethal, because the moves that build wealth are almost insultingly simple, and a clever brain hates simple. Spend less than you earn. Invest the difference in something boring. Wait a very long time. Don't touch it. That's it. That's the formula. It fits on an index card. A child can understand it. A child can understand it. But a smart person reads that and immediately starts arguing. Well, index funds are fine, but I think I can do better. Sure, but the market looks overheated right now, so I'll wait for a dip. Everyone says max the retirement account, but I've got a more sophisticated plan. The intelligence doesn't get used to follow the plan. It gets used to find reasons the plan doesn't apply to them. I call it the smart person tax. The belief that because you're clever, the basic rules are for other people, and you can find a cleverer path. The belief that because you're clever, the basic rules are for other people, and you can find a cleverer path. So you trade when you should hold. You wait for a perfect entry that never comes. You wait for a perfect entry that never comes. You build an elaborate strategy when a dull one would have quietly made you rich. There's a name for part of this in the research: hyperbolic discounting. It's the brain's tendency to massively overvalue rewards right now and undervalue rewards later. Offer someone $100 today, or $120 in a month, and a shocking number take the 100. The future self gets robbed by the present self, over and over. And being smart does not protect you from this. In some ways it makes it worse, because a clever brain is better at building a convincing story for why the indulgence right now is actually the responsible choice. I work hard, I earned this. It's an investment in myself. You only live once. The reasoning is sophisticated. The outcome is that the money is gone. Intelligence, it turns out, is a fantastic lawyer. And it will argue for whatever you already wanted to do. And it will argue for whatever you already wanted to do. And it will argue for whatever you already wanted to do. Now let's talk about the trap that catches even the disciplined ones. Because some of you are thinking, okay, Victor, I don't overthink it, I just spend on nice things. This one's for you. Because some of you are thinking, okay, Victor, I don't overthink it, I just spend on nice things. This one's for you. Psychologists have a term, hedonic adaptation. The idea is simple and a little brutal. Whatever good thing happens to you, you adjust to it, and then it stops feeling good. The raise that felt enormous in March feels normal by August. The new car is thrilling for 3 weeks, and then it's just the car. The bigger house becomes the baseline, and the baseline never makes you happy. It just becomes the new floor you're standing on. Pair that with the thing you've probably heard called lifestyle creep, and you've got a machine that's almost perfectly designed to keep you broke at every income level. Here's how the machine runs. You get a raise. For a moment you feel ahead. But within a few months your spending quietly rises to meet the new income. Better apartment. Nicer restaurants. The upgraded phone you didn't need. None of it feels reckless. Each step feels reasonable, even earned. And that's the trap, because it never feels like the problem. It feels like normal life slowly getting a little nicer. That Goldman report I mentioned earlier named lifestyle creep directly. They described high earners trapped in what they called a financial vortex, where housing and childcare and healthcare swallow more and more of the paycheck, and the luxuries that used to be treats quietly turned into expectations. A car that used to be a reward becomes the bare minimum. A vacation that used to be special becomes the thing you have to do every year. This is why the raise never fixes it. You've probably felt this yourself. You thought, if I just made 10,000 more, I'd be comfortable. Then you made it. And you weren't. Because the spending moved up to meet you, and the gap between what comes in and what stays stayed exactly the same. Sometimes it got worse. The brutal part is that the person making 60,000 and the person making 600,000 can be running the identical treadmill. Same gap, same anxiety, just with nicer scenery. More income did not buy freedom. It bought a more expensive version of the same trap. And the only way off that treadmill is the one thing the treadmill is designed to stop you from doing. Letting the gap grow. Taking a raise and refusing to spend it. holding your lifestyle still on purpose while your income climbs. It feels almost unnatural, which is exactly why so few people do it. There's another force underneath the spending, and it's older and deeper than any of us want to admit. We spend money to tell other people who we are. Most of what people buy past a certain point isn't for use. It's for signal. The watch isn't about telling time. The car isn't about getting to work. The handbag, the address, the school, the bottle at the table. These are messages. They say, I'm doing well. I belong. I'm not the person you should worry about. The cruel joke is who we're sending those messages to. We go into debt to impress people who are also in debt, trying to impress us. A whole neighborhood of people quietly drowning, each one looking at the others and thinking everyone else has it figured out. The nice cars in the driveways aren't evidence of wealth. Half the time they're evidence of the car loan. The behavioral researchers actually mapped this. Brad Klontz and his colleagues built something called the Money Script Inventory back in 2011, published in the Journal of Financial Therapy. They found that the beliefs we carry about money sort into 4 basic patterns, and these patterns mostly get installed in childhood, long before we ever earn a dollar. One of those 4 they called money status. It's the belief that your worth as a person is tied to your net worth, that what you own is who you are. And people who score high on money status spend to display because the spending isn't really about the object. It's about the self, about proving something, about being seen as a winner. Here's the finding that should stop you cold. Klontz's research showed that 3 of those 4 money scripts, including money status, were directly linked to lower net worth and lower income. The belief that money equals identity doesn't make people rich. It makes them poorer. They are not building wealth. They are renting the appearance of it by the month with interest. And again, intelligence offers no protection. A brilliant person with a money status script just buys smarter looking status. More tasteful. More expensive. The trap is the same. The wallet empties the same way. Let's stay with those money scripts, because this is the part that explains the people who seem like they should know better but somehow can't get out of their own way. Klontz's 4 patterns are worth knowing by name, because you almost certainly recognize yourself in one of them. The first is money avoidance. This is the quiet belief that money is somehow bad, that rich people are greedy, that wanting money is shameful, that you don't really deserve to have it. Sounds harmless, even noble. It is not. People who carry it self-sabotage. They avoid looking at their accounts. They undercharge for their work. They spend money down almost on purpose, because having it makes them uncomfortable. Some of the smartest, most generous people I know are quietly broke for exactly this reason. They were taught that caring about money makes you a worse person, so a part of them refuses to win. The second is money worship. This is the belief that more money will fix everything. That the next raise, the next deal, the next windfall is the thing that finally makes you happy. It never is, because hedonic adaptation eats it every time. But the worshipper keeps chasing, keeps spending in anticipation, keeps believing the finish line is just ahead. They often carry more debt, because more always feels like it's coming. The third is money status, which we just covered. Worth equals wealth. Spend to be seen. Klontz called it money vigilance. These are the savers. The people a little anxious about money, a little private about it, a little allergic to debt. The people a little anxious about money, a little private about it, a little allergic to debt. They're not flashy. They keep a buffer. They get quietly nervous if the emergency fund dips. From the outside they can look boring, even cheap. They're also the ones who end up okay. Sit with that for a second. Of the 4 ways a human relates to money, 3 of them keep you broke, and the one that builds wealth is the one our culture quietly mocks. The careful one. The boring one. The one who doesn't pick up the check to look generous and doesn't lease the car to look successful. Most of us are running one of these scripts right now, and we never chose it. We absorbed it. From a parent who fought about bills at the kitchen table. From a mother who said money doesn't grow on trees so many times it became a nervous system response. From a father who spent big to look like he was winning while the accounts said otherwise. You learned how to feel about money before you could do long division, and you've been running that program ever since, underneath all your intelligence, where the intelligence can't reach it. That's the key. These scripts run below the level of thought. You can have a genius IQ and a money avoidance script sabotaging you in the background, and your genius will never even notice, because your genius isn't in charge of this. Something older is. So here's where smart people get stuck for good. They assume that understanding a problem is the same as solving it. It isn't. And money is the place that gap is widest. You can read every book. You can know what an index fund is, what compound interest does, what lifestyle creep is, what a money script is. You can explain all of it to a friend over dinner and sound brilliant doing it. And then go home and do absolutely none of it. Knowledge and behavior live in different parts of you, and the smart person's mistake is believing that once they understand something, they've handled it. This is why financial education by itself barely moves the needle. Studies on financial literacy training keep finding the same disappointing thing. You can teach people the concepts, test them, watch them pass, and a few months later their behavior hasn't changed at all. They knew. Knowing did nothing. Because the problem was never a lack of information. You already know you should save more. You've known for years. The gap isn't in your knowledge. It's in the moment. The Tuesday night moment where the cart is full and the app makes it one tap and the future feels far away and the want feels close. No amount of understanding shows up to help you in that moment. The script does. The present bias does. The hyperbolic discounting does. They show up every single time, and your intelligence stays home. So if more information won't save you, and being smarter won't save you, what does? You stop relying on yourself in the moment. That's the whole answer. You stop pretending you'll make the right call every Tuesday for the next 40 years, because you won't. Nobody does. Instead, you make the decision once, in a calm moment, and then you build a system that carries it out without asking your willpower for permission ever again. Let me get specific, because this is the part you can actually use. The way out is to take the smart, flawed, easily talked out of it part of your brain out of the loop entirely. Not improve it. Bypass it. Here's what that looks like in practice. First, you automate the gap. The day your paycheck lands, money moves out before you ever see it. Into investments, into savings, into the retirement account, automatically, on a transfer you set up once and never touch. This is the single most powerful thing in personal finance, and it has nothing to do with intelligence. It works because it removes the decision. You can't talk yourself out of a transfer that already happened. You can't forget it. You can't decide this month is special. The money's gone before your clever brain wakes up to argue. There's a famous behavioral program built on exactly this idea, where people commit in advance to save a portion of every future raise before the raise arrives. And it works far better than telling people to save, because it sidesteps the present self entirely. You're letting today's calm version of you make the choice and locking out the Tuesday night version who would cave. That's the trick. Decide once, when you're thinking clearly, and then make the decision automatic, so you only have to be disciplined a single time instead of 1,000 times. Second, you fix the lifestyle creep by attacking the raise specifically. When more money comes in, you decide ahead of time that most of it goes straight into the gap not into your spending. Your income climbs and your lifestyle holds. Boring on purpose. That's not deprivation. That's the only thing that's ever worked. The treadmill only stops when you refuse to step up to the next speed. Third, and this is the deep one, you have to actually find your script. Sit down and ask where your feelings about money come from. What did your parents teach you, not in words, but in how they acted? Did money mean fighting? Shame? Showing off? Fear? You're looking for the program running in the background, the one your intelligence has never audited. Because you can't fight a script you can't see. The moment you name it, oh, I overspend to feel successful because I learned that money equals worth, it loses some of its grip. Not all of it, but enough to give the system a chance to work. And notice what all three of these have in common. None of them require you to be smarter. None of them require more willpower in the moment. They all do the same thing. They move the decision out of the heat and into a system where your psychology can't sabotage it. That's the secret the wealthy delivery driver understood and the broke doctor never did. It was never about being clever. The doctor relied on his intelligence to manage his money, and his intelligence kept arguing him into trouble. The driver didn't trust himself at all. He set up an automatic transfer, lived on what was left, and got out of his own way for 30 years. One of them was smart. The other one was free. So let's go back to the question we started with. Why do smart people stay broke? Because wealth was never the reward for being intelligent. It's the reward for behaving in a specific way, over a long time, against every instinct your brain throws at you. And intelligence, for all its gifts, is brilliant at one thing in particular: talking you out of doing the simple thing that works. The good news in all of this, and I mean this, is that if intelligence was never the requirement, then you are not disqualified. You don't need a higher IQ. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You need to see the scripts running underneath you, and then build a few simple systems that take the decision out of your hands. The broke genius and the quiet millionaire weren't separated by brains. They were separated by whether they trusted a system or trusted themselves in the moment. Trust the system. You'll do better than the genius. I've watched it happen. I'm Victor. If this reframed something for you, sit with it before the feeling fades, because the feeling fades fast and the script comes back. And I'll see you in the next one.